Hey there. So it is November 6th, 2024, day after elections. I'm sure half the country is going to be in a sobbing wreck today, and half is going to be elated. And that's really not a good thing for it to be that divided. But I was thinking when I was teaching class this morning, really after class, but I was thinking about respect because we had some new people come in. And as I was walking one of the gentlemen down to where white belts normally stand, we don't have a very formal school where I think we have some of the most respectful people there, but it's not the kind of respect you would expect from a military academy or a martial arts academy, which most people tend to think are the same thing. So I was walking this gentleman down saying, here's where white belts usually stand. If you go to a night class or go to another school, usually you'll see a bunch of different colored belts lined up. And I found it very embarrassing to walk in and stand at one end of the mat and then being told, no, I couldn't stand there. But honestly, if you come to the morning class, nobody gives a shit where you sit. You'll see purple belts and brown belts walk in a little bit later, or just anybody coming in late for the class will come in and sit wherever. I have no problem with a white belt sitting at the head of the class. It does not matter. We don't require you to call anybody anything like sensei or coach or instructor. It's just Brandon. It's just Joe. It's just Emily. It's just Shane. You don't have to have any titles. We don't really. I mean, we'll do like a little just like clap bow type thing just to signal we're starting. But honestly, we don't do a formal bow to your sensei. We don't, I've been other places where they'll have a picture of Helio up on the wall, or when I did Krav Maga, they had Amy up on the wall. And you'd like, even at the informal Krav Maga place I went to, they just said, yeah, we're just being respectful. Bow to Amy, bow to the class. I understand those things, but I'm way more concerned with the interpersonal respect. I could give a shit less about these formal shows of respect and more about how do you treat the other people. And I think that's where our school really shines, and where I think a lot of jujitsu shines. It cultivates that kind of attitude if you're in the right place. You can also get some weird, toxic, culty, nasty shit going on. It can happen anywhere. Sometimes you just need to throw some chlorine into the pool. But the respect that I want to see between people in any walk of life that's best illustrated on the mats of jiu-jitsu is how do you treat the other person. I don't care if you come in and you bow and you are formal and very respectful. I don't need you to be deferent to me or to any instructor or to the school or to the mats. I need you to be respectful of your partner, care about their safety, care enough to have good hygiene, care enough to not slam somebody or be heavy or take a crank or a choke too far. Be respectful of the distance between you, your partner, and the next group of people so you're not slamming, butting heads, rolling over somebody's arm, breaking something. Be respectful of the instructors, not by being deferent to them, but by being mindful of, hey, they're talking now. Shut the fuck up and listen. Uh, you'll see black belts come in and take, or brown belts. I've had both drop into my morning classes from time to time. They shut the hell up and they listen when I'm talking. And it's not because I'm better than them in any way, shape, or form. It's because they're being respectful. They're being respectful of this person taking the time to try and teach you, and they're being respectful of everybody else trying to learn. And they're not interrupting that. And you can also be respectful of the teacher by not going off and doing some half-assed blue belt, purple belt shit after the instructor has shown something. And we've all done it. Been there, done that. The instructor shows something, you don't really get it, or you don't really care for it, you don't think it's worthwhile. You say, well, this is how I would do it. We've all been there. Or we've all seen it done. But that's the kind of respect, just like that basic level of human respect for another person. That's what I really am more concerned with cultivating. And I think that's something that's really been illustrated in the last 8 years that we don't seem to have in society anymore. And it's been progressing for a long time. And I don't care which side of the political spectrum you're on, I'm not on either one. I don't feel like any of the major parties really represent the way I think things should be done. But I don't, your neighbor might have a Trump sign or a Kamala sign, and you might be the opposite version. It doesn't mean you're going to go over there and say, hey, fuck you, Frank. You know, that's not what you do. You might have these, really kind of offensive signs out on the lawn, but you shouldn't be acting like that person to person. You should still just be like, hey, we think things should go in a different direction. And I don't like the way things are run now. I would like to go some other way. You should be cultivating that in your family if you have one, your local community, your society. That should all be grassroots stuff. Like, you should be treating people well. If you think there's a better way to do things, then try to get involved. And I'm not saying by like spouting off hate on whatever your favorite social is or by planting a sign in your lawn. I'm saying, like, hey, if you don't like the way your local community is run, you think that whatever local law is bullshit, run for office, volunteer for something. You don't have to be an elected official to make change. A lot of people do a lot of good without being in office, but if you really are that concerned with it, like, start making some steps toward it. You don't have to be in office. You can be one of the people in one of the groups that cares about stuff that can influence the person who's in office. There's a lot of different ways you can do things that actually have an effect. And I think we've forgotten that. Like, that's one of the awesome things about our society is we do have the ability to affect things. I would say we're losing it more and more. We're getting further and further detached from the way things started off and like the local grassroots town hall meeting kind of government that we started off with. And that's why we had representatives, because it was a big country and you couldn't have everybody there for direct democracy. But we used to have a lot more face-to-face interactions with the people representing us. So if you want to have more influence, you got to be more involved. And I don't think what I'm seeing, I'm driving, there's still all the signs right here, and I see, fuck Biden, and I see, just all sorts of, like, fuck Trump signs. Man, that's not helpful. It's not helpful. And I think that lack of respect for people is what we're missing. And this is probably, like, I don't think I'm trying to say anything too offensive to either side of the aisle here. And I don't think I'm being too Pollyanna-ish either. You can have some pretty strong disagreements with people about stuff and still get along with them in every other aspect of life. And in those areas where you have disagreements, it's okay to have discourse, and it's okay to not agree with each other even after having discourse. But you don't have to be hateful and disrespectful, and you don't have to get tribal about it. I'm a pretty patriotic person. I was a Marine. I was raised in a very traditional heritages and values kind of households. I don't really espouse them. I'm kind of away from what most of my family is into, but I'm still very much a fan of this country, and I think it is still one of the greatest experiments we've ever had in human society, and I want to keep it beneficial for all. And I think that we can do that. But I think getting too tribal on either side of the aisle, being too nationalistic, is just not helpful. It's good to be on the moral high ground and to try to be on the moral high ground of treating humans like humans. I think once you start legislating how people can act you're probably going to start moving away from that. And we got to find a balance somewhere in there. Absolute freedom is anarchy. It's just everybody trying to do anything they can for themselves, living off the land, and that's not what a society is. You definitely give up things by being part of a society, but you gain a lot of things by being part of society. And one of the things that really pulls a society together is recognizing that we are all here trying to make something that is better than anarchy. We're all here trying to go towards a place that we think is good, even if we think that how to get there is differs, and where the absolute end goal is might be a little bit off mark from one to another. I think we all agree, like, we want to have as much ability to be safe, be happy, pursue our own interests, and do everything we can with life without harming another person. It's pretty simple stuff. But to bring it back to jiu-jitsu, it's the morning after the elections. Guarantee there are people on both sides of the aisle feeling the extremes of emotion. And I know on the mats this morning there are people from both sides of the political spectrum who have strong feelings about it. And they were on the mat today, and nobody said a damn thing about the elections, about politics, about anything. They were there to do some jiu-jitsu, to have a great time with their friends and have fun. So it doesn't have to be the thing that defines us or divides us. It's just a part of life. It's just a way we pursue things. And it's okay to get on about life and care about people in your community. And you could disagree with them, but it doesn't have to be the defining characteristic of everything you do. I think if more people could see the kind of camaraderie and interaction that we get in jiu-jitsu, the world would be a better place. And I think we used to have more community functions and events and institutions than we do now. With the rise of the internet, we've gotten more and more disconnected. And I don't know how we fix that. We're not putting Pandora's box, the things back into Pandora's box. The internet's not going away, short of a thermonuclear war. And I don't think it should. But we got to find ways to connect with other humans and recognize it's not just somebody spouting hate on a screen. Like, that's Joe, my friend from, 2 doors down that I see at the store every day. And, I went over to his house for a cookout last week. I don't hate that guy who has a different opinion than me online. He's right there. He's a nice guy. We hang out. We watch the baseball game. We just have different opinions. I don't know. Kind of a long, crazy rant, but I'm hoping it's something that everybody can agree with and we can all kind of remind ourselves of. And if you don't like the way the election went, get involved. Do something about it. Start to change from the bottom up. If you like the way the election went, cool. Get involved. Start to change things from the bottom up. Make them more the way you want them to be. All right? So that's it. I got to start loading these up and putting them in order. I keep maxing out the memory on my phone, and it backs up to Google Photos, but it's never going to get to YouTube to be seen that way. So, yeah, maybe I'll put this one up and I'll send it over to Jeff and see what he thinks. He's volunteered to be my content and visual and audio sounding board. So yeah. Anyway. No matter what, proud to live here. I'm glad we've got the system of government that we do. I'm glad that we all actually can work to be better Americans and better people. And I hope if you have any interest in jiu-jitsu, come train with us. We're nice folks. We don't talk about politics on the mat. And it's a good time. All right, take care.